For the past several years, I have always wanted to see many of the Oscar films that have been nominated for Best Picture or have had their actresses or actors been nominated as well. But time and time again, I have never been able to do that. However, for this year, I finally was able to change that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through many of the categories of the Oscars and give out my interpretation on who should win or what film should win each of the categories. The list of movies that I have seen are 127 Hours, Black Swan, Blue Valentine, Harry Potter 7 Part 1, How to Train Your Dragon, Inception, The Kids Are Alright, The King's Speech, The Social Network, Toy Story 3, True Grit, and Winter's Bone. Now, some of you might be surprised or disappointed in fact that The Fighter is not on there. The only of the Best Picture nominees that I haven't seen. And I don't really have a good excuse for that, except for the fact that I kind of just put it off seeing it, and then now it's showing at the nearest city like 40 miles away. I'm like, fuck it, I don't want to go. Whatever. So, yeah, that's out. But otherwise, I've seen 9 of the 10. I saw Blue Valentine with it, so maybe that'll give me a bone. Give me a bone for that, yeah. Before I begin, I just wanted to talk about the snubs. Of course, we all know about Christopher Nolan and how he wasn't directed, so I'm not going to get into that. But one thing that I do want to say, or two things I want to talk about, was Ryan Gosling in Blue Valentine. Now, his co-star, Michelle Williams, was nominated for Best Actress. So, yeah, I didn't think she deserved that. I know, maybe that's just me, but I was really more into Ryan Gosling's character. Because, I don't know, I was just more into it. He was believable. I was, like, going through his trials and whatever. And I was like, he was a complex character. Sometimes I hated him, but sometimes I just liked him. I hope he just did well. I thought he should have been nominated for Best Actor, but then again, the Best Actor nominees are pretty damn good as they are. And the second film that should have been nominated for anything, I don't care what, sound mixing, sound editing, was Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Now, I'm a huge video game fan, and I love this film. A lot of my video game peers also love this film, but I hear other video game fans, they just don't like this film. I don't get it. It's fun. I love it. The graphics are great. The storyline is, well, it's not the best, but whatever. And I don't know. I just love the film overall. So I'm just kind of surprised it wasn't nominated for some random category whatsoever. I mean, of course, it's not going to get like Best Picture or Best like Actor for Michael Cera. Oh my God. So yeah, that's it. So what I'm going to do now I got all that out of the way, is I'm going to talk about all the Oscar categories. Now, I want to skip all the ones that I have seen none of the films or one of the films. I'm only going to focus on the ones that I've seen at least 2 of them, so that way I can compare at least. And also, I'm going to skip original score, because yeah, whatever, I don't remember the songs at all, so they kind of failed in that department. For Best Original Score, I have seen 127 Hours, How to Train Your Dragon, Inception, The King's Speech, and The Social Network. And in this case, you know, when I saw, it's funny because normally I don't really pay attention to the score of the film. And it's funny because when I went and saw The King's Speech the second time around, I actually noticed the score. I realized how much it really did contribute to the film, especially to the climax and to some of the speech therapy classes. But with that said, I want to give it to Inception mainly because of the and you just gotta get that song. I mean, I have it on my iTunes, and it's awesome. So, Inception should get it. Film editing. Now, for film editing, we got for me, 127 Hours, Black Swan, The King's Speech, and The Social Network. I can go. I'm going on either way here because the two that I hope win will be either 127 Hours or The Social Network, because in both cases we see flashbacks from previous lifetimes, or in the case of The Social Network, we see two different like storylines going on here, and it's kind of at first it was a little unsettling for me to get the hang of it, but of Social Network. But once I got into it, I just really enjoyed it. So, but I want to give it to 127 Hours, mainly because most of the film is basically James Franco stuck in one place, and what can you do from that? I mean, so many scenes can be similar, and yet they're not. And I think they did a good job just like splicing them together and create a nice and convoluted but at the same time fluid storyline going on here. The costume design, which is, in this case, there's only two categories I have seen for, and they are The King's Speech and True Grit. Now, Alice in Wonderland got nominated for this, and I heard from like Entertainment Weekly that like usually best costume goes to the ones that are most outlandish, which I don't really buy. I go for the ones that really just help you get you into that environment that they are in. It helps you make it more believable and thus pull you into the world. In that case, I would have to go for True Grit, mainly because like the first like 20 minutes or so of the movie is the main what's the girl's name? The actress that played her, Haley Steinfeld. I just loved that. It was just really cool just to see so many like interesting characters. It was nice costume design. It was like I looked at that, I was like, yeah, that's definitely from the late 1800s. Grimy and dirty, has that peel going on there, that western appeal. Well, it was great. I just thought it was a fantastic job there. I would give it to that. King's Speech had good costumes, but it's more contemporary. So I would give it to True Grit, mainly because I just thought, hey, the costumes just kicked ass in it. Visual effects. I only saw two films in this category. Again, they are Harry Potter 7 Part 1 and Inception. Okay, now before I go any further, I just want to say this now while I still can. Harry Potter 7 Part 1 was, in my opinion, the best of the Harry Potter films. I think a lot of my peers would agree with me on this, but you have the odd one who say otherwise. But I thought they did a great job with it. It was really dark. They took everything seriously. They didn't add any stupid things in it, like Harry Potter 3 with the talking heads. What the fuck was that all about? With that said, let's get back to the category of visual effects, and I would have to go for Inception. I mean, I think we all remember that freaking awesome scene with the fighting in the hallway. How the hell did they do that? It was just awesome. And of course the dream sequences were amazing too. So yeah, it was great. I loved it. And I thought they were just like, it pulls you into it. I know I use that term a lot, but when I use that term for a movie, you know that I thought they did a great job immersing you in the environment. And the same can be said for the next category of art direction. Now, in art direction, we have Harry Potter 7 Part 1, Inception, King's Speech, and True Grit. From what I can tell, art direction's really like, does it help the audience member believe that what they're seeing is what can actually be real? Like, that house is not just a prop house, but a real thing climb into and like live in it. And with that said, I would have to go for True Grit again, because I saw all those buildings like, man, the buildings were just like, so well made, and I just thought, like the costumes themselves, it was just like perfect immersion to the environment. Coen Brothers did a great job with that. Cinematography. All right, now we're getting to some interesting things here. Cinematography. We have Black Swan, Inception, King's Speech, Social Network, and True Grit. So I've seen all 5 of those. I'm gonna have to say right out front, King's Speech. I'm just gonna push that away because the cinematography, it was good. I mean, but I don't think it had the same effect as the other 4 categories did. Social Network, I thought, did an awesome job, giving a great feel for the Harvard environment and the Facebook building. And True Grit was great with the outdoors. Inception, of course, with the dream sequences, and Black Swan. And it was funny because now that I think about it, I remember when I first saw Black Swan, it took me a while to get used to the way it was filmed, because it was all jostling. It was in your face, oh my god, and it's over the camera and everything, over the shoulder, I mean. And once I got into it, then I liked that. Then I liked it because it gave that edgy feeling that Black Swan is all about. It has that erotic, weird thing going on there, and it's pretty cool. So it's tied between really Inception and Black Swan, but I think I'll have to go for Black Swan because of how it helped parallel in the storyline.